Pisces, this is Wishka the Ferret. Thanks for hopping into the Ferret Den where we're keeping things warm and we're keeping things cozy. Today we have a reading for you for May 15th to the 21st, and we have a new moon in Taurus coming up on the 19th. So definitely check in with the astrological energies around that time. Check your local time zone because it might be a few days out or a few days behind. So I like to work my manifestation magic around the new moon, but just so you're aware that that's coming up. I actually had some channeled messages before coming to this, which I guess is a recent thing. It might be a recent thing, so tell them that. I just heard tell them that. So I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm not going to add anything extra. But I'm going to try to read my Scribble Scrabble here before we get into the tarot. So basically the first thing that came to mind was don't judge a book by its cover, because there are... there are opportunities that you're not seeing because maybe you're judging it too harshly. I'm also getting for you that it's working out for you. So Spirit is saying that this is a path that you will enjoy, or if there's something new that's been sparking, apply this however you see fit. You will enjoy this. In the grand scheme of things, it's working out for you. You can feel stuck. Just don't suffer. Spirit doesn't want you to suffer. So even if you felt, I just heard something about you have a passion for kicks. What is that? You have a passion for kicks? I don't know what that means. You could have a passion that's coming up and that perhaps you do it for excuse my language, but for shits and giggles. Perhaps you have something that you are doing that is basically for fun. But Spirit is saying that, if that's something that you want to work with, if that's energy that you felt that you can do, or perhaps you felt stuck with it, Spirit is saying that, don't feel you have to change yourself in order to accommodate a new path that you want, or don't feel you have to change yourself in your situation. You can still accommodate this new path that's showing itself to you. Spirit is encouraging you to move forward with it. And you don't have to suffer, and it's okay to feel stuck sometimes. It's okay to embrace this energy, because that's a part of being human. Don't let it damage your psyche. Don't let it damage you as a person. It's totally okay to let these things flow and vibe. You will eventually come out of it. Okay? That being said, let's go right into your tarot. So as always, drop in, I can't remember if I said this, but I'm going to shuffle anyway. Drop into your heart space. Let the dust spiritually, physically, and emotionally settle around and within you so that you can determine which messages are for you and which messages are for others. I probably should have said that before the channeled message. I'm sorry. But so take what resonates, leave the rest, basically. I want to thank Archangel Michael, as always, for being a guiding force in this reading. And I already meditated, before all of this, so I feel grounded. But just for the benefit of being grateful, thank you to my angel team and my spirit guides for connecting me with the Pisces sun, moon, and rising energy, for allowing me to uplift and empower the collective as we move through this reading. I see how the channeled message can be relevant. So I'm just going to let it free flow. And I'll try not to connect it too much to the channeled messages that we got, because I do feel like that could be for a certain percentage of you, and it might not apply to all. You have the Sire of Cups showing up first. The King of Cups in the traditional tarot, how you traditionally read this card, is that it's somebody with emotional maturity. It's somebody with emotional stability. Now, I just heard that this emotional maturity is something that you have and that you can assist others with. This is something that perhaps this week you can feel led to guide others through their emotions. You can be that kind of advisor for someone, or perhaps someone is venting to you and you are a place of comfort, or you are a source of comfort for others, because despite the fact that in the original tarot, the rough waters around the King of Cups, he's not deterred by that at all. He is keeping a calm mind. He is keeping his emotions calm. He's keeping himself in check so that he can continue to guide and conduct his kingdom. And what I love about the Sire of Cups in this deck is that he has his own little island to himself. The waters don't, I guess the waters are pretty rough, because I guess when you first look at it, it looks like there's a storm brewing. It looks like, it looked like mountains to me at first, but it is stormy waves that are in the background here. But what I love about this is, despite the tumultuous atmosphere and despite the wind whipping around, he still has his tail very secure on his own cup. And he is teaching someone. He has there's this tiny little dragon. I don't know if you can see in front of him, this tiny little dragon perched upon this cup. and he is basically teaching him. He not only he keeps his own cup close, but he is basically being like an authority figure or a guiding teacher or mentor to this younger dragon, which is why I feel like that's something, like energy that you are promoting at this time, or an energy that you are giving off at this time. And you have the wisdom of the universe here. So the universe is synonymous with the world card in the traditional tarot, which basically says there are opportunities abound and abundant. And in Tarot of Dragons, this is actually a card of wisdom. This is like a card of infinite wisdom that you are connected to at this time. You are recognizing the source of your divinity, or you are quite, I don't know if you're like clairsentiently feeling it, or you have this claircognizant knowing of, you know, this is where I need to be. This is the, like, this, everything is working in perfect divine timing. But there is something about settling here into a space of wisdom this week, because the focal point of your tarot, there is this source of wisdom, but perhaps there is also something here, because the focal point is Five of Pentacles. Perhaps there's a feeling of lack. That was weird. There was a sound in the distance, but for whatever reason, that just rung very strongly like alarm bells in my head, and I had like a weird sense of, whew, that was weird. So I sense something different from this card than the traditional tarot, because typically the Five of Pentacles is feeling a state of lack. But it's almost like you are recognizing the lack around you, and you intuitively feel moved, like to want to go somewhere else. So whether this be a shift in your perception, whether this be moving on, or you're cutting the cords from something or someone or a situation, you have endured so much, and it is time to move past it. And that's exactly what they're doing in the Five of Pentacles. It's almost like this group of dragons and the stag and the fox and the eagle, they are all moving to greener pastures. They are all moving out of this barren wasteland. Perhaps it has bore very little fruit on the trees. We see the pentacles up in the trees. Perhaps you were in a space that seemed to show promise, which is why you were there for a little bit, because you saw the potential in it. But now it's almost like it's wreaked its havoc on your soul, and you are ready to move on. You're ready to move out of it, and you're like, I've faced it. And it's almost like I'm going to face something new now, something better. I'm going to clear the energies. It's almost like walk. I just heard the word walk. So quite literally walking away from something and clearing your energy kind of at the same time. You have Page of Cups. You're discovering new things. You are discovering new things that replenish your soul. And for whatever reason, the way that I'm seeing this card almost feels like, and it's kind of drawn that way too, but the outskirts seem kind of hazy, and it's almost like you're drawing focus in on, you're focusing in on something. For whatever reason, like intuitively, my mind's eye is doing some weird stuff with this card right now. But basically, the only thing you feel clear about at this time, perhaps you're clear about other things too, but it feels like you are drawing into focus at this time, and everything else around you is blurring away. And you are seeing like the emotional, not only the emotional baggage that you carry, but you are seeing yourself very clearly for who you are in the Page of Cups, and you are determined to let your outer world reflect the person you are inside. So it's almost like and Page of Cups traditionally is kind of like new emotional adventures too. So this is an adventure you are willing to take on. This is like a message to kind of clear your mind so that you can continue on with this emotional adventure. So clearing the pathway so you can take those steps forward, so you can work on aligning your outer life to match what's inside, because it's almost like in this situation, it served its purpose. Whatever that is, Spirit's not really giving me too much information on that. They want to dive deep into the present moment right now and what you can do, because I feel like all of our situations here could be different, or Spirit's like, they're telling me like it's not important to dive into that, because if you're in this message, then you already know. If you're like resonating with this, then you already know what it is that you're leaving behind and why you need to leave it behind. But Spirit is saying there are new things to uncover, there are new things to explore and enjoy. So it's almost like you are working with yourself to try to align your outer life to fulfill you emotionally inside. And that emotional fulfillment comes from within, but it's almost like you want your outer life to reflect. You want the outer life to match the vibration that you want to feel inside. So it does take some aligning, it does take some work, but I feel like you're going to get there through this exploring, because the Page of Cups is exploring exploring those things. You have the Eight of Wands too. The Eight of Wands, there's a lot of different energies that you're dealing with at this time. The Eight of Wands traditionally does mean something requiring focus. Perhaps there's a lot happening at the same time and you need to like set priorities in order to focus on one particular thing. In the Eight of Wands in the Tarot of Dragons, I do feel like you might feel there's a lot coming at you, which is causing this moment of confusion that you need clarity on, but perhaps honing your resources and your focus to one thing at a time. I'm getting with this card one foot in front of the other, which is essentially what you're doing. I said, keep going, you're doing great, is what I'm hearing. Keep going, you're doing great. So as the main card, the central part of your oracle messages, the central card of the main focus is repairing the veil. Forgiveness. I'm actually going to pull the message out of the book. I'm sure I can intuitively pull from this card, but I feel like in order for this to truly reach, like this message to truly get across, I do feel like the description in the book is very beautiful and does talk about the depth that forgiveness can go. So, repairing the veil. Forgiveness, making amends, recognition of our unity. Between us all is a thin veil appearing to be a space that separates us. We look through this veil and believe ourselves to be distinct from each other. We assume that our thoughts and feelings are our own. We see bodies and objects and the spaces between them, so we engage the world in relationships between a duality of us and them. This veil serves as a mysterious illusion, making it so hard to believe in our inherent connection and unity. We can't always remember what we do to someone else. We, at the same time, do to ourselves. When we claw at the veil out of fear, anger, jealousy, or resentment, manipulate another, misuse our power, or allow someone's actions to diminish us, we create a wound felt by many, not just those of us in the smaller direct relationship. Now is the time to examine where your actions have caused difficulty or harm to someone else, and also where you have been the recipient of harm. Regardless of what side you are on, it's important to take responsibility for healing this rift by bringing love, compassion, deep listening, and presence to whatever is not in harmony. Do this for you and for your own liberty, as you become an unwitting hostage once you take the role of perpetrator or victim, both positions of weakness. Let go of all your resentments. Know your part in the dynamic and make the appropriate amends with that newfound wisdom and understanding. Healing, forgiveness, and mending what is broken in your world is a sweet, much-needed declaration of freedom. Whew, I feel like that message was like a little bit, maybe it was a little bit too harsh, so if it resonates with you, good, but I love that last line. Healing, forgiveness, and mending what is broken in your world is a sweet, much-needed declaration of freedom. So I always like to approach my readings with a lot more compassion. Where forgiveness is needed, sometimes we are the ones that need to forgive others because hurt has been done unto us. But I also think that at times we need to be accountable for the choices that we make and understand that, you know, I just heard something about like a sweet, sweet, savory victory. So it could be, the victory in itself can be forgiveness and walking away, because that helps you attain that freedom. You have the knowledge like that perhaps what you did was either the right or the wrong thing or whatever it is. This could be like a consciousness thing, but I'm not sure if you're the one that feels wronged in this situation or if it's vice versa, but your forgiveness is necessary, whether it's forgiveness of yourself or whether it's forgiveness of another individual. I don't know. There's like a feeling here of being like, you're right. No, I'm right. No, blah, 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 blah. Like there's this, it's almost like, I don't know, Spirit's just telling me the words, you're right. So, and I do feel like, you know, because I wonder about people on the other side of the scenario of like, you know, do they feel like, do their guides tell them that they're right too? Should they be, because a lot of people like that I get like, you know, when we have these things in life, sometimes the other person isn't like called spiritually or they're not in connection with their guides. But I'm like, it makes me wonder, like there's no perception, I don't think, of good or evil, but it's the effect that we cause on others that I think they focus on. And it's that forgiveness and that okay, so never mind. I'm sorry. I have to set down my beliefs for this reading because they're coming through. They're saying, you are right. They said, you need to set your boundaries better. And they're also saying that please don't engage with energies that you find to be dampening your spirit, is what they're saying. Because on the subject of whether things are right or wrong, if it causes you harm, move away and try to offer that forgiveness is all I can really say about that. We want you to focus on your true path, is what they're saying. So believe it, dream it, dream it and believe that it can happen so that they can help you manifest those steps forward. Okay. We have, oh my God, everybody. Okay, I'm not going to say everybody, but quite a lot of signs have gotten this teachability card. And y'all saw me, I shuffled that deck. I shuffled it before the camera turns on, and I shuffle it during as well. But we have Hollow Bone, Teachability, and we also have as a companion card Wise One, Grow within your current situation. So quite literally, this is Spirit asking you to integrate the lessons that you've learned recently, and like without shame, without judgment, without feeling like you've done like the wrong thing or whatever. There are perhaps some vices in you that are coming up, or things that you feel are vices. Spirit's not judging you harshly for it. They're just saying, allow it to make you wise. Be the flute in which Spirit can blow the lessons through, and sitting with that, sitting with those lessons and just accepting them for what they are. This is kind of a radical acceptance speech, that like the Spirit saying, you know, do your speech, because like I've spoken on this before and I feel like I've been like kind of repetitive in saying the same thing. So if you have other signs that you read this message on, I apologize if it's sounding repetitive, but basically allowing yourself to be a vessel for divine communication and to allow those lessons to integrate into your soul. So that you can become the wise one, so that you can call in, because we all have the wise information. We all have okay, so basically, like, they just gave me Dexter from like Dexter's Laboratory. It's like a cartoon. Look, something that used to be on Cartoon Network, but essentially they showed me somebody who is like very brainy and intelligent. And when we're speaking of wisdom, it doesn't, you can be academically smart and not hold wisdom, but Spirit is actually speaking to me through a metaphor of that. So we have actually access to that whole divine computer, if you will, or we have access to all this divine information. You're somebody who actually holds a lot of soul wisdom. So allow yourself to incorporate this into your body so that you can adjust your spiritual frequency and so that you can achieve greater joy and success in the future, because this is something that you can integrate. It might be a little difficult, but allow yourself that space to adapt and to adjust to this information coming through. It does take time, but just allow yourself to be a vessel. Oftentimes when this card comes up, the Hollow Bone Teachability, it is because we are resisting taking in that information, or we are resisting the need, the thing that maybe what I did was a mistake, or maybe I've learned that I like should have clear boundaries, or whatever it is that you learn from that situation. Integrate it and allow Spirit to move that through you so that you can move on. Okay, you have Cosmic Womb, the Divine Feminine. You also have Shield Maiden, Make Plans and Focus. So I love that I'm actually starting to notice a trend with this spread. So it seems like these cards, because they're companion cards, it seems like because they're in the middle of the reading, these are kind of the action items or like the inspiring things that are coming out at this time. So, and it's because like it's the way that I'm laying out the spread. Maybe someday I'll have another camera that could like zoom down and focus, but right now this is what we got, this is what we're working with. But the Cosmic Wound, the Divine Feminine, this card is actually speaking of the creative nature and all of that the Divine Feminine energy can offer us. So everybody, regardless of your gender, regardless of what you identify as, it is something that we all hold. We all hold masculine energy, we all hold feminine energy, and that's just like the normal spiel that I give so we can understand that. And the thing with the Cosmic Womb, the Divine Feminine, is that's honestly where a lot of our creative energy comes from, is like a Divine Feminine or the feminine energy within us. And the masculine energy is usually associated with like the yang energy of like the doing, the action, the manifestation. But like a lot of times the creative energy, the intuitive energy, that is a lot of like the feminine powers within us all. So it's almost like you're activating those creative energies at that time. You might actually feel some energy moving around. If you're more spiritually inclined, you can feel a lot of energy moving in your sacral chakra, which is like right below the belly button. It's the sacral chakra. It's our center for creativity. It's our center for sexual passion and just passion for things in life in general. So those types of things could be stimulated at this time, but that's helping you. Your creativity is coming out and you are making plans for the future, and your creativity is like not only generating ideas, but Spirit is calling you to focus in on that creativity so that you can help manifest those things for your life and start putting things into motion. If you haven't already done that, it's just a matter of coming up with like the next steps for you, okay? You okay, in the hand, the universe is your partner. This is quite literally the co-creation card, which I love having that. I just heard your sister can help. So if some of you are like working with family, or if you have sisters, that's a very specific message for some of you. Or perhaps you have someone who is a sister-like figure that you considered working with. But there's something here about like co-creating, okay? There's something here about co-creating with a sister, or co-creating with somebody close to you in your family, or somebody close to you that you work with, that you've thought about working with. But co-creating in the hand, it's the universe is your partner. This is quite literally saying whatever it is that you want to manifest, Spirit provides you with opportunities. They provide you with little sparks of inspiration and little hints along the way that show you like that you're on the right path. And I just heard like, we'll prove it to you. We'll prove that we're real. So if you're not quite 100% sure if you're being guided, or if you even have guides, first of all, we all have guides. We're all guided. Yes, every single person, everybody. So Spirit is saying we will prove to you that we are real. So look out for signs. Look out for triple numbers. If you see like butterflies, I'm hearing for some of you grasshoppers. Really have that faith, because that's actually an oracle card that's coming to mind as well, the grasshopper spirit, which is like taking that leap of faith and trusting that Spirit is there the whole time with you. You might start seeing signs and synchronicities. Keep an eye out for that and take that as proof. Take that as your proof that Spirit or angels, they are walking with you, they are watching over you, and they are co-creating with you. I just heard that within your business, we will charm you, is what they just said. So we will charm you. I don't know why that word has been coming through in the last two readings. I think Scorpio got something like this similarly, or maybe it was Cancer, but someone had like something about a charm. But we will charm you, or like we will come across in an endearing way that would actually make you like giggle or smile. Something that where you like you will feel in your heart, you're like, oh, like if that's the first thing that you're thinking of is, oh, that's a sign. Like don't talk yourself out of it, because if it's coming through immediately and coming up from within that is a sign, you'll feel it in your heart space first, or it might come actually into your head at first, into your mind, like that's a sign. Trust that immediately and go, oh, that's a sign. You don't have to know what the sign means. Just know that it's a sign and recognize that your spirits and your angels are there with you, helping make magic happen. The companion card to this co-creation card is Star Ancestor. Follow the voice of your soul. Ooh, I got the chills when I got this, and I love that both of them are coming up at the same time. So it's the fact that the Star Ancestor card, perhaps this is quite literally saying that your ancestors are here to make magic happen. Your ancestors are influencing heavily. I just heard that your natal chart, your astrological chart, is something that is actually a very strong guide for you. So if you've been contemplating, or if you've been feeling the pull towards astrology, or you've been wanting to look at your astral chart, definitely, even if it's like a mock-up report, even if you can't afford to do like a full report and ask for readings, I don't do those yet, sadly, but I would love to do that someday. I'm studying astrology right now, and to become equipped to do detailed reports for you guys, because I think that would be so fun. But there are plenty of websites that you can go on, and I feel like I don't feel like I'm going to remember to link it, but there are tons of sites. Like there's like an astro chart. There's like many different websites that you can plug in your information of like where you were born and what time you were born. Even if it's an estimate, like you might not be able to get like the full, like if you don't know the time you were born, that's okay. So long as you have the date and maybe the location, if you remember where you were born, or like ask around and try to get that information. But you can see, like, at least get the basic details of your chart. And like sometimes like those mock reports, or those automated generated reports, will talk about certain parts of your chart that you can actually use as a baseline. So if you're actually studying how to read charts, or if you don't have the resources for other people to read your charts, you can start with that as you're learning. But there's something here about your chart is actually a really useful tool for you if you're trying to find your way. So that's a message for some of you, that your ancestors are close to you at this time. Also that things usually like, whether it's entering your mind, I feel like for a lot of you, you'll feel the signs, or you'll feel the guidance come up from within your heart space. So it actually will come up in your heart and come out your mouth. I'm not sure why I'm getting that feeling, but perhaps if you're like talking and all of a sudden you find yourself saying something and you're like, oh snap, I've never said that before. If you're talking to someone about your dreams, perhaps that's like a way that you can, that's like your way of divination of like speaking something up from your heart and soul. And you're like, oh, like as you're talking to people, if you're talking about your dreams, perhaps something comes up from within from your heart space that you don't realize could be a way forward. You don't realize that you're that passionate about until you say it. And you're like, where did that idea come from? That's actually really cool. Holy crap. And you get like really amazed. That's kind of like the moment that I'm thinking of, or that could be like your way. So talking about it with people or with someone you trust could actually help it come up from within, okay? So following the voice of your soul, letting the stars kind of guide you. Again, I'm getting like the astrology thing, the ancestors thing, and the coming up from your heart, okay? And then to close off this little circle, so like the repairing the veil and forgiveness card is kind of like yes, it's the focal point of like something to heal from and to do now. But the angel card that I pulled to close off the oracle circle is meant to be a companion card. So you have expect miracles. So this card in itself is expecting miracles this week. Expect yourself to shine and expect other lights to find you. I'm not quite sure what that metaphor means, but that's just kind of what's coming through. Perhaps there will be, there's like, and I keep getting something about a skill set you can use, but perhaps you have something in terms of like you are gifted with like an emotional skill set. So this forgiveness is something that can be very empowering for you once you achieve it. And once you forgive, miracles can come from it. So expect miracles in all its form this week, not only coming from forgiveness, but even just, I see for whatever reason, I'm seeing miracles come from the sidelines. So even if they're tiny little miracles, like they don't like have to like all of a sudden be, miracles aren't like always things that just boom happen and like, you know, seeing an angel fly or like, you know, seeing something like, you know, all of a sudden just having a waking up with $1 million, like it's not like that. Miracles can be in the smallest things, but I see them coming up and just brightening up your day. So synchronicities, people see synchronicities as miracles. Some people see like, you know, if you see, I don't know, I don't know why I'm getting like the image of walking, like taking a walk and just witnessing miracles, like a miracle of nature. Quite literally, you could be seeing something that's struggling, but then all of a sudden break free through like some sheer dumb luck and be like, like, you know, and it's perfectly healthy and fine. That in itself can be a miracle for you. Or like that's witnessing a miracle in itself, or expecting miracles or different supports coming into your life that can help not only bring joy and abundance to your day, but helping you recognize the abundance that's around you. It has something to do with like abundance. And lastly, you have Dust Devil moving out of stagnation and sacred plan. So perhaps you were in a period of stagnation. You're kind of moving out of that at this time. And I really do feel that whatever it is for you, I just heard something about companion spirits. So perhaps you actually have spiritual energies on the other side that are making movement for you, and like they're helping shift your energy so that you can move forward. Perhaps you've been I'm not going to say you were stagnant for too long, but perhaps the time for stagnation is over. I'm feeling my third eye burning a lot as I'm talking about this. So I do feel like they are kind of incorporating their magic into your energy and stirring stuff up through your intuition, because usually when my third eye is burning, that indicates an active spiritual stuff around you. Not bad spiritual stuff, mind you. Like these are helpers, these are companions, these could have been friends from a former life, or these can be quite literally just your ancestor energies trying to get all up in there and being like, okay, like the divine plan is happening now, or like this next step is being executed now, and they're like pushing you towards your growth, because the sacred plan says that everything has its own divine timing, and that everything is, it's all happening at the same time, but it's all kind of written already. And it's like we still have our active free will, we can still change things and create things, but basically we come into this life with so many hopes and dreams that are written that we often forget, and that we use our soul and our intuition to navigate through. So you have basically everything is divine, and everything is like this propelling forward, or this movement forward is a part of the sacred plan, and also the stagnation was a part of the sacred plan too. So have no fear on that, right? So we don't have to feel guilty about, we should never feel guilty about the way that we're living, because being a human is hard, guys. Living in the world, living on earth is hard. Hard as hell, okay? So you really need to offer yourself compassion and grace, and just like wherever you're at in life, okay, wow, I don't know if that's really necessary. Okay, some of y'all maybe have been worried about your weight, and spirit is coming through to say your booty be fine. I don't know why that's coming through, but have more compassion for yourself. Have more compassion for the body that you walk with, okay? Really sex yourself up. Have that confidence. Make yourself feel good. This, again, this is related to just anybody. If you've been worried about your weight, or if you've worried about specifically your booty, Spirit is like, that perhaps this is like, perhaps these are lighthearted guides that you have, or they're like, but they're coming through with that lighthearted energy of like reassuring you, like, don't feel bad about certain things like your body, because you gotta find booty. Like, that's like a very specific message for some of you. So definitely leave a comment if you feel comfortable, like if that's something that resonates with you, because that to me is very charming to say it that way. But anyway, it's all divine, so you don't have to worry about like not living up to your, I don't know, some people feel like they have a sacred duty and they might feel the need to work themselves. Other people might feel like they're not where they're supposed to be in life, and Spirit saying, don't worry about that. It all is a divine plan. It's all divine timing. We have unlimited peace and compassion for your soul. So please don't feel obligated towards anything, because you're doing your best. And you're like, to them, in Spirit's eyes, you are the greatest. You are the greatest. And there's so much love and compassion and understanding that I can't put it into words. I feel like I can't, and it's not like Spirit's not letting me. It's just I feel like it's beyond human comprehension how much understanding and love and peace there is. And I feel like that type of loving energy, there's like a love descending into my soul, like in my energy as I'm talking about it, and it actually makes me want to weep. So I'm not going to explain it any further just because I want to say what happened on the angel dice. But we have 5, 8, 9 for you. That's just like a message for you. But 5, 8, 9. And I'm pulling from Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray, as always. Your recent experiences have been powerful teachers and reminders that you are more in touch with yourself than you have previously given yourself credit for. Self-care is essential at this time. One more time. Your recent experiences have been powerful teachers and reminders that you are more in touch with yourself than you have previously given yourself credit for. Self-care is essential at this time. I'll let that be a standalone message and resonate with you as you see fit. That is the end of your reading, Pisces. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for holding the space for me and for allowing me to read your energy. And of course, thank you to all of the spiritual energies on your side, all of the spiritual energies on my side, for helping me make this happen, for allowing me to share my gift with you. If this resonated with you in any way, go ahead and like the video, because that helps this message get to other people and it really helps the YouTube channel grow. If you want to see more content from me, definitely hit the subscribe button, smash that like button and all other stuff, so that way you don't miss content from me. And I post weeklies and pick-a-cards and collective. Sorry, Spirit's like talking to me, and they're like talking to me and giving me messages because I haven't closed out the connection yet. They're like feeding me stuff. So hang on one second. Thank you so much for being here as always. And what else did I say? Oh yes, I'm launching a Patreon soon. And I'm also introducing my ferrets in the community tab on this channel. So if you love ferrets as much as I do, and you love tarot as much as I do, all the more reason to keep up with me and what I do. So I love you, I love you, I love you, Pisces, and I will see you next time. Bye.